Don't tell me that Anita is not hip to the Hotel California. What's that? Many have heard Cat Williams describe being shocked by the eyes wide shut movie-style parties that he got to see as he raised his degree. Now here's a disclaimer. If you're unaware, Cat Williams uses profanity, but don't let his choice of language keep you from getting the point.
They be having these big-ass mansion parties, and the mansion party, the whole mansion is a party, and then it's a separate party in the little rooms. I ain't been famous that goddamn long. I'm excited than a motherfucker to be at the mansion party. You be looking at all the goddamn rooms, and you fuck around and look in the wrong room and shit. Nigga, come here, come here. Is that two niggas kissing? Is one of them niggas Professor Obi? He came out the closet, he came out the closet. Oh my God, rubber. Shut the goddamn door.
On the dark desert highway, cool wind in my hair, warm smell of colitas rising up through the air. Up ahead in the distance, I saw a shimmering light. My head grew heavy and my sight grew dim. I had to stop for the night. There she stood in the doorway, heard the mission bell, and I was thinking to myself, this could be heaven or this could be hell. Then she lit up a candle and she showed me the way. There were voices down the corridor. I thought I heard them say, welcome to the Hotel California. Such a lovely place, such a lovely place, such a lovely face. There's plenty of room at the Hotel California. Any time of year, you can find it here. Her mind is different and twisted. She got the Mercedes Benz. She got a lot of pretty, pretty boys that she calls friends. How they dance in the courtyard, sweet summer sweat. Some dance to remember, some dance to forget. So I called up the captain, please bring me my wine. He said, we haven't had that spirit here since 1969. And still those voices are calling from far away. Wake you up in the middle of the night just to hear them say, welcome to the Hotel California. Such a lovely place, such a lovely place, such a lovely face. We're living it up at the Hotel California. What a nice surprise, what a nice surprise. Bring your alibis. Mirrors on the ceiling, the pink champagne on ice. And she said, we're all just prisoners here of our own device. And in the master's chambers, gathered for the feast. They stab it with their stealing knives, but they just can't kill the beast. Last thing I remember, I was running for the door. I had to find a passage back to the place I was before. Relax, said the nightmare, we are programmed to receive. You can check out anytime you like, but you can never leave.
Hi, I'm Cindy. On the perfect female time, 18 to 25. I'm here to sell for you. Hi, I'm Cindy. I'm the perfect female type, 18 to 25. I'm here to sell for you. Hi, I'm Cindy. I'm the perfect female type, 18 to 25. I'm here to sell for you.
So, how and when does this happen in an artist's career, quote unquote? Maxwell tells you very clearly how it happened to him.
It happened the moment when you were revealed, 'cause you were a dream that just should not have been a fantasy real. You gave me this beating, baby, this rhythm inside. You made me feel good and feel nice and feel love. Gave me paradise. So shouldn't I realize you're the highest of the high? If you don't know, then I'll say it. So don't ever wonder. Don't ever wonder. Shouldn't I realize? Shouldn't I realize? You're the highest of the high. If you don't know, then I'll say it. So don't ever wonder. So tell me how long, how long's gonna take until you speak, babe? 'Cause I can't live my life without you here by my side.
Is This Rockin' Your Knot? The female lead plays the role of the spirit coming down from the eye of the pyramid, conjured by the elder mason who went up the pyramid steps with the fez and the apron and the staff. The whole 9 yards, undeniable. She's seducing and pressuring, deceiving, convincing with her words. She plays the Jezebel to his Ahab spirit in this play. The creation of a new man via masonry, low-key, their alchemy. The whole goal, the transgender agenda, the whole 9 yards, encoded in the Frankenstein scene. You will see a few common brotherhood themes such as stay and hello, as well as others throughout this documentary. They beg for the spirit, demon, fallen one, for the most powerful ones, to speak to them and stay with them. Sometimes in one verse, you will hear both the singer sing as the spirit itself and then switch back to singing as the artist, begging the spirit again, a demonic call and response based on mind control, possession, and duality. You will also see this done with duets. He also plays the reluctant or double-minded one, Ahab, to her Jezebel spirit, as well as the artist going back and forth between whether or not they want the spirit to stay. He's needed the words more than others, but I bet you thought it would be a male Frankenstein figure. You were surprised to see their alchemy created a female. This gender switching and bending will also be addressed more as we go. And note how the scientists, wizards, mind controllers, handlers are also surprised themselves to see what they've conjured up. The undead thing or spirit turns on the ones that brought it to life. In the end, the ones that called it up, again, they get turned on in the end, just like in steam wrapped around your finger. Now my man stands on the steps of the pyramid saying, never gonna stay a while, never gonna be your child. That indicates that somehow there's a thought that you're gonna escape by way of black masonry. Some people don't understand this as part of the black and white chessboard agenda. So many times we thought a video did not go with the song. We were wrong. They were speaking in code all along. The spirit comes down from the stairs again, like in loose ends. The black and white tells you to listen for the duality. He's also begging for the spirit to stay. Yes, it didn't. Oops, these nights never seem to go as planned. Now everybody knows this song. It was jammed down our throats, but it was still muted. He says, guess it's true. I'm not good at a one-night stand. He'd rather not be a one-hit wonder. He wants some longevity, but he still needs love because he's just a man. A gay man, so he'll take the offer for one hit. These ritual sacrifice nights never seem to go as planned, is what he means. And he doesn't want the spirit to leave. He wants some type of confirmation or guarantee, a touch from the spirit, if you will. And he's pining, as we've seen time and time again, for the spirit to stay with him, because that's all he needs to get ahead. And he knows that's not love. He knows what he's doing, but he still wants it anyway. And that's the long and the short of it. If you've ever wondered or wandered, rest assured that this is the shot that tells a lot. The light behind him symbolizes the false light of Lucifer and his demon spirits that disguise themselves as light. And no marvel, for Satan himself is transformed into an angel of light. 2 Corinthians 11 and 14. This is clearly a setting designed to bring church to mind. Note the devotional vibe of the song. He even stands as the spirit above and in front of the crowd of the worldly, receiving their pleas to stay as the spirit. This is blasphemy, spirit worship, and idolatry.
With me.
Shaka also gives us papillon, which is French for butterfly, a common symbol used to identify MK Ultra Project Monarch victims. And it's no coincidence that Erykah Badu covered Stay by Shaka Khan, and you see her album cover here.
Is it daylight? I can't tell no more. Never had this condition before. Everywhere I turn, it seems to hang on. Everything I do, it seems to hang on. Was I mistaken about you? Aside from wanting you, aside from needing you, let me give you some idea. It ain't just the chance, the fact of it is, I can't go nowhere, I can't be the same, I don't know my name, I can't understand just why. Wasn't that clever? As only I can be. Then tell me what's happening, what's bothering me. Aside from dreams I have, nothing else exists. Honey, it's you I miss. Don't leave me like this. I can't go nowhere. I can't be the same. I don't know my name. I can't understand just why. It seems to hang on. It seems to hang on. Like a snowball rolling down a hill. It seems to hang on. I look behind me, it's there still. It seems to hang on. Oh, like a shadow, it follows. Loose me, loose me, loose me, please. I can't go nowhere. I can't be the same. I don't know my name. I can't understand I can't shake it. I can't shake it. Like a snowball rolling down a hill. I look behind me, it's there still. Oh, it follows like a shadow. Loose me, loose me, loose me, please, please, please. I can't go nowhere. I can't be the same. I don't know my name. I can't understand just why. It seems to hang on. It seems to hang on. There's something there.
In gathering these things, it was very hard to try to find just straight up music to download, and so I ended up having to find videos, and sometimes these were the only types I could find. My apologies for that, and my shout out to the person whose video I just used. Now they plant a seed of doubt by putting a question in your mind. Like, was it love? equating love with confusion and chaos. When the song opens, she asks, "Is it daylight?" That means you are in darkness. Again, the same themes over and over again. Bondage. The song you just heard epitomizes the SWS, or Songwriter's Secret. Praise to the Father for revealing it in these end times. According to his word, this is a time of revelation, revealing. For some, this SWS is not a new discovery, and there's been much said concerning Satan and his use of singers as ministers of his way for some time now. And here's an excerpt that shows another way that Lucifer has the singers in bondage, by way of backward masking, from Pastor Joe Schimmel. Check it out.
Over and over again, not only in rock music, but people in Hollywood, all over, who are being called by Satan into his army. Okay? Oprah Winfrey said she was lonely and out of it until she came in contact with the universal hum. Okay? You see it over and over and over and over again. And I tell you right now, people in high places are being used by spirits to suck the world into the new age under Antichrist. And it's not just in rock music. That just happens to be what we're exposing today. In fact, your head is humming, and it won't go in case you don't know. The piper's calling you to join him. Dear lady, can you hear the wind blow? The lady that started off the tune. The lady that thought all that glitters was gold. Dear lady, can you hear the wind blow? And did you know your stairway lies on the whispering wind? Where's the whispering wind? Remember we talked about that? Remember that was the piper's path. And it's whispered that soon, if we all call the tune, then the piper will lead us to reason. So he's basically telling this woman that she's going to hell. Your stairway lies on the whispering wind. Where does your stairway lie? So, if I said to somebody, hey, your stairway lies in the whispering wind, I'd basically be telling them that they're going to hell, because the whispering wind was the piper's path, as we've already sung. Now, before we go to the lyrics backwards and look at Stairway to Heaven backwards, which I think we should, I want to show you something in a bootleg by Led Zeppelin where they actually changed the words to this song. That was at Madison Square Garden, what you had seen right there. First of all, before we go to it backwards and before we show the bootleg, I want to open it up and I want to show you what it looks like on the inside of Stairway to Heaven. And what you see is a woman, which you probably can't see from back there because she's in black. She's not shining white light at all. And she's climbing a mountain. Does it look like it leads to heaven? Looks like it leads to outer darkness to me. Okay? In fact, the one who's leading her is a hermit of the tarot cards. The tarot cards are occultic cards to divine the future for occultists and people in the New Age movement and so forth. Crowley had his own deck of tarot cards that he designed. The hermit from the tarot cards represents occultic wisdom, occultic guidance. Who's the one that is guiding the occult, ultimately? Satan. Whose path is she really on? Satan's. In fact, just as Jimmy Page, you had seen right there, was invoking Satan, a little bit later in that same song, just a few minutes if we would have kept going, he becomes one with the hermit. His face blends in one with the hermit, who is a representation of Satan, ultimately. Because he was invoking Satan in that ritual. Now it's interesting that really the piper is Satan. In fact, when we listen to the song, and we're still not going to listen to it backwards yet, but when we listen to the song forward, I want you to catch something. Just a little part of it. Very interesting. What I want to ask you is, what kind of music do you hear? Grab that up a little. We hear an acoustic guitar. But what kind of instrument do we hear in the back of that acoustic? The pipe. The piper. The most powerful song of all time in rock and roll history, the biggest classic, has the piper that they identify as Satan, that is identified as Satan, I should say, leading the people that are in the kingdom of rock and roll. And guess what? I was a Led Zeppelin fanatic. And I had no idea because I was blinded. Because people are being blinded by this, you guys. But I've been set free by the Lord Jesus Christ, who breaks these chains of deception. And you can be set free too. In fact, we said earlier The whispering path we saw was Satan's path, and then we see her being told, "Dear lady, can you hear the wind blow? The pipe. And did you know your stairway lies in the whispering wind? I mean, you're going to hell." Now, Led Zeppelin at the LA Forum, they tell their fans basically where they're going. Okay, listen very carefully. Dear who? Tells them their stairway lies on the whispering wind. He just told them they're all going to hell, and at the end of the concert, they don't know what's going on. So look how Robert Plant says goodbye to his fans. He just told them they're going to hell. They don't get it. They're cheering Led Zeppelin fanatically. And he tells them that it's been a joke, basically. Listen carefully.
It's been very funny. Good night.
I've seen them do that over and over again in their music. Kind of laugh at the crowd. In fact, right here, let's look at Stairway from another angle. Let's look at it from the angle in which Satanists are looking at it and see what they're actually finding. Now, there's a few different ways to look at backwards masking, and there's different types of what people call backwards masking. I'm not talking really about backwards masking, I'm talking really about backwards messages. In fact, one way to do it, which wouldn't require demons or higher intelligences to intercede, would be just to take straight words, take 7 or 8 words in a song, and reverse them. And then when you played it backwards, you would hear those words. But when you heard it forwards, what would you hear? You'd hear something backwards. It wouldn't make sense. So when people talk about how backwards masking is done in the studio, yeah, that kind of backwards masking is done in the studio. No problem. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about when you hear music and lyrics forward, and then you hear those same lyrics backwards, and it's a message forward, and those same words are a message backwards. Okay? And we're not talking about 1 or 2 words. We're not talking about something like the cat and playing it backwards and trying to get something like tack backwards and something out of the. We're talking about sometimes over 15 words straight. We're talking on Stairway to Heaven right around 30 words. Okay? And we're not only talking about that, we're talking about a song that wasn't engineered to be heard backwards, but came right from the spirit world automatically. Okay? And then we're talking about, if you wanted to make lyrics backwards on a song, you're going to mess up that song forward pretty bad, right? Well, Stairway to Heaven is the most popular song in rock and roll. So this destroys any kind of argument that comes against it. And what destroys it more is the lyric forward often has everything to do with the lyric backwards. And to take it even further, you can hear a lot of these same things on live albums backwards. Because it's the demonic spirits using these human beings. Do you understand that? So let's listen to it. Remember, first of all, that they were invoking Satan, that they got it from Satan, and listen to what you hear backwards. First we'll hear a little bit forward. Listen carefully. Raise your hand if you heard anything right away. Okay, that was without me even telling you anything. I've seen a lot of hands go up. Forward.
Your stairway lies on the whispering wind.
Forward it says, and your stairway lies on the whispering wind. Backwards it says, because I live with Satan. Listen carefully. Raise your hands if you heard that. Quite clear, quite obvious. There's a lot more. Her stairway lies in the whispering wind, dear lady, just like the Led Zeppelin fans, because their power is Satan. They live with Satan. That's who empowers them, and they're following Led Zeppelin. They're really following Satan, because Led Zeppelin were just 4 puppets. Satan could have used any 4 and formed Led Zeppelin. It was Satan's music. Let's listen on. Backwards it says the piper's calling to join him, or forward. Backwards it says the Lord turned me off. says, and it makes me wonder. Backwards it says, there's no escaping it. Raise your hands if you heard that. Okay, it's quite obvious. It's quite clear. You'd have to turn your ears off to not hear it. Okay? It's really obvious what's going on here. Now, there is an escape. It says there's no escaping it. There is an escape, and that's Jesus Christ. In fact, he's the only escape. He's the only escape. Jesus said, I'm the way, I'm the truth, I'm the life. No man comes to the Father but by me. He said, if you try to climb up some other way, you won't make it. He says, the same as a thief and a robber. He alone, he said, is the gate. And if you want life, it's in him. And if you go some other route, according to the scriptures, you're still following Satan. You can't pull yourself up by your bootstraps. You can't do it through Buddha. You can't do it through Muhammad. They're both still in their graves. Jesus has risen from the dead, and he's coming back again, and you better be ready. Let's listen on. Listen backwards again, and I'm not going to say anything, and just listen, and I'm going to ask you to raise your hand if you heard something before I even say anything. Raise your hands if you heard anything. I see hands all over the place, okay? Now listen to this forward. Forward, you're talking about several words, like around 17 words or so.
It's just a sprinkling for the faith queen. Yes, there are two paths you can go by, but in the long run, there's still time to change the road.
You're actually talking about more than 17 there. Listen carefully. What forward is talking about the two paths you can take. Okay? Yes, there are two paths you can go by. Backwards, they lift up, the demons lift up, because this isn't Led Zeppelin, this is spiritism, and spirits working through Robert Plant. Backwards, they lift up the backwards path, the satanic path. It says backwards, here's to my sweet Satan, I want to live it backwards. Like the Zepp, referring to Led Zeppelin. Robert Plant referred to Led Zeppelin as a Zepp over and over again in interviews, and that's how they've been referred to for years. So backwards it says, here's to my sweet Satan, I want to live it backwards like the Zepp, whose power is Satan. He will give you 666. Listen carefully. Backwards it says, here's to my sweet Satan. Did you hear that? Listen carefully. It says, I want to live it backwards, like the Zepp, whose power is Satan. Did you hear that? And it says, he will give you 666. Not much into my albums anymore. So. He will give you 666. Big deal. The mark of the beast will come out. People will take it on their right hand or their forehead, and then all of a sudden they'll get grievous sores on their right hand, and they'll say, hey, what's going on? It's not working. There's some kind of reaction to this mark. And then before you know it, according to Revelation 14, everybody that takes the mark of the beast will be damned in fire and brimstone, it says, forever. And the smoke of their torment rises up forever and ever. Big deal. It's a big deal in this sense. The people that take the mark of the beast, the people that are rejecting Jesus right now, are not going to make it into God's kingdom. And we need to reach people and say, hey, the scriptures say, Jesus said, except you repent, you shall all likewise perish. We need to turn to him wholeheartedly. Where are you turning at this time?